you're that industry that's being disrupted, you should be investing heavily in the industries that are disrupting you.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
So you're transitioning.
You're hedging your bet, right?
Yeah.
Literally, if you're on a local scale, if somebody's coming in and just dominating you, well, you know what you should be investing in, right? If you can't out-compete with them, then you should invest with them.
Yeah.
Figure out a way to partner with them.
Can't beat them, join them, yeah.
Yeah.
Some level, yeah. And that's a good way to hedge your bet. You know, if you're making, let's just pick an arbitrary number. You're making $500,000 a year, and then it goes to 400, and you think next year's gonna be 300, and you know it's going down. Well, I'd spend the next 2 or 3 or 4 years taking all that extra money and investing in your competition that's putting you out of business.
Yeah.
And if that's a publicly traded company, that's really easy to do.
So what's been on the business boys' hearts recently?
Ugh.
Right? I double ugh.
Great economy. Just it's been a valley because of the economy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're coming out of it.
Yeah, we anticipated a bottleneck. It just was a little further than we thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you say we're on the way out of it, like you guys in particular, or the economy?
Us.
Oh.
Yeah.
The economy maybe.
Yeah.
I know the Feds, they said they were slowing down the rate increases, so we'll see. But there's a lot of price gouging and stuff too. A lot of people are spending less money because they're feeling the increase.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting. Like when you look back at I was talking to Tanner the other day, and I mentioned this. I asked him, I was like, what's everybody saying about real estate right now? What's everybody saying about their economy? What's everybody saying about just the overall outlook of life and the world? And overwhelmingly, everybody is negative, right?
Yeah. Everybody
Everybody is like pessimistic about where we're at, pessimistic about real estate. Interest rates are high. Everything's overpriced. Real estate prices are falling. And so, if you look back to a couple of different people, but specifically like Warren Buffett, he said when everyone else is fearful, that's when it's time to be courageous, right? And so like Neil and I are aware of that.
Yeah.
And what that basically means is that now is the time that you're supposed to be taking action when everyone else is retreating, right?
Yeah.
And that's, you need to be looking for the right opportunity, the right inflection point, et cetera. But that's been hard. We're still doing that. We're still looking for opportunities. We're still, so it's hard when revenues are down, expenses are up, and you've got this overall morale that just seems to be different.
Down.
And it's just down in general. And then still making decisions that you're committing financially to different projects, whether they be real estate or some of the upcoming projects that we have for the studio and some events that I don't think we're going to talk about just yet.
No, yeah.
But there's some big projects we got coming up that Neil and I are committing considerable resources to, and it's again, it comes back to that, when everybody else is fearful, and honestly, when that other Warren Buffett one, when the tide's out, who's wearing swimming trunks, and Neil and I've got our swimming trunks on, and we're the tide's out, and we're trying to figure out how to get back in the water.
Kind of skinny dipping right now.
Yeah. Neil's skinny. Yeah. He looks sexier naked than I do. Just saying. So if anybody's got a skinny dip first, it's got to be him. Yeah.
It's not what it used to be.
No. Oh, it's better than mine. I'm telling you over here. I'm trying to get it dialed in. I would love to have I'd love to have like a side by side comparison at some point of us in the future, but like the before and after though.
Oh yeah.
Like put one of my really uber fat pictures where I'm 420, I'm huge, next to your muscular picture, and then put my like less overweight, nicer picture next to your muscular picture. Yours is going to look about the same.
You'll be in shape by next year.
Yeah. Not, 2 pounds.
We've got all the weekly, or not weekly, but all the photos from our podcast too.
Yeah,
side by side photos. We'll have to,
I was going to complain, Seth. I think you need to use AI or your editing tools to go back to my original podcast and my original stuff and make me look smaller.
Because I'm looking at it, I'm like, God, I was
kind of,
or make you look bigger, and then it's more impressive.
Oh yeah, that's what we need to do. Yeah,
make your journey all the more inspiring.
Yeah, look, can you believe how he was 700 pounds? Look at him. Yeah, they had superimposed him into 2 seats.
His skin was also blue, and he had a tail, and
yeah.
But yeah, no, man, we're just, I would love to tell you we're optimistic, but it's like we're being beat down as well. So you feel that a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You still feel that. So, we're not immune to that. We can know what's going on and still not feel good about it.
Yeah, and plus, the world's so strange today too. It's making the right moves is much more difficult.
Where does that optimism come from? I mean, like,
well, that's genetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that definitely plays into it. I think the other side is.
So you're saying you guys have a genetic advantage when it comes to business, maybe?
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Possibly,
Huh.
very possibly. I
I'd
think
never heard of
there's
that.
some element of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's some. We'll see. There's probably genes that are exhibited that give us certain attributes. I'm sure
it shows up on our genome reports.
Yeah. So we're very resilient. But I think the other side of that is this isn't our first time. This is not the first rodeo, and
Right.
not the first recession. I know they've refrained from saying that word, and they're like, "Oh, the real recession's coming." I don't know. It's not the first time we've been through a valley in business and in life, and so I feel like that helps you prepare for it.
What's you're talking about, like the valleys and like wearing the trunks? Like, what's some examples that have happened to you guys like in the past with this kind of stuff?
Well, we've already discussed it on previous episodes, so I won't
Yeah.
be too redundant. But we've gone through big losses individually.
Yeah. I ended up I'll call it a $12 million swing, but ended up living in my parents' garage. And there's definitely early episodes that talk about this.
Yeah,
but in my
yeah, I
parents'
remember
garage with my wife and at the time 2 kids, and started completely over. And
And my one's that big, but I probably lost. I mean,
I don't know.
I wasn't the sole owner, but the company the companies that me and my partners lost were worth probably over $20 million.
I was gonna say I'm sure they were up there. Yeah.
So,
And was that during recessions that happened, or was it just?
no, it was just so it was really a domino effect.
Yeah.
Of sometimes you have one company that starts to tank, and then it pulls other assets with it.
Yeah. And then sometimes there's outside regulations. So like some of the industries that we're in, we're not in check cashing, but let's use that as an example.
That's a good example.
Some states, so check cashing and check advance and payroll advance, and we're not going to get into whether we think they're predatory or not. Obviously they serve a purpose, and there's an extreme need for them. And because if not, people wouldn't use it, right? They would just go to a traditional bank. But the problem is those people can't go to a traditional bank, right? And banks have this unique thing. They do not have to do business with you, right? You have the right to choose which bank you attempt to do business with, and they have the right to choose which customers they choose to do business with. So there's a whole class of people, of Americans out there that cannot bank, right, with a traditional bank. And so these check cashing places are solving a problem, right? And, for one reason or another, maybe these are high-risk individuals as far as the bank's algorithm, but they can't bank. And so they don't have any choice. Now it's high risk, right? So these check cashing places are taking on considerable risk. And with considerable risk, they have to account for that by having higher fees, right?
Yeah.
So again, not saying their fees are where they should be or that they're too high or too low. I'm just saying there is a reason they are high risk, and they serve a purpose, because if they didn't, if I just open up a check cashing place tomorrow and my fees are just ridiculous and I don't provide a service or value, and that it's not perceived on the other end, the people are just going to go somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
They proliferated throughout the country because there's a real need. They're solving a problem for individuals that can't bank. But that being said, some of the states, I believe at one time Virginia was one of them, went in and said that, hey, these check cashing places are illegal, and they changed temporarily the way that the laws were structured. And overnight, you had business owners, very successful business owners, go bankrupt, right? So sometimes there are things that necessarily aren't like nationwide or global recession or anything like that, where you can have a change in a law or change the way something's applied, change in political power, change in who's leadership, a change in local city boards or authorities. Sometimes even something as small as a local change on a city council can affect the way that a local business runs. So some of those changes, they can come from a lot of things, right? So when you're talking about the risks that an entrepreneur would take, they're not just, hey, you might open and not be profitable. There are so many things. You might open and be profitable and have it taken from you, right?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of it's disruptive technologies too.
Yeah.
Things technologically can change, and a more efficient option comes along, or a more efficient structure comes along, and it's difficult to restructure an entire company when someone else can just start out from the beginning in that way, and then they can just completely take all your business.
Do you think AI will do something like that? You think that's gonna?
Oh yeah, that's. But I think we'll all use AI to help us structure these things when that's a viable possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. You know, and I think the larger a company gets, and we're not this size, but when you have a company that's huge, right? I'm thinking multi-billion, tens of billions, et cetera. You have a company that's so large and so much in one direction down a path, right? They may see the writing on the wall and they may know where things are going, but it's very hard for those very, very large companies to shift directions, right? To change course. Because in doing so, they may alienate their existing client base.
But what they do is they just prevent anybody else from shifting course too, or going down that course.
Right.
They try to.
They try to, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, one of those things is that a lot of times you'll see, you can know, like I can tell you right now, if you're in ATMs, unless in ATMs, they've got the Bitcoin ATMs, they've got the crypto ATMs, they've got ATMs that are starting to be, ATMs are transitioning into point of sale systems, right? And ATMs are truly becoming automated teller machines. They are replacing individuals. Now, a few years ago, I told you ATMs, and even as recent as last year, ATMs are going out. And I think the way that traditional ATMs are thought of is going away. But a new type of ATM that's actually more expensive, which is essentially a machine that has a vault that dispenses cash and accepts cash, and it's designed to replace an attendant. And, you know, you have automated service taking place, right?
Tellers.
Then you have banks everywhere.
And you have banks everywhere. And then you also have this other side that I still think that goes away, right? I still think cash itself, because the banks don't want it. The government's trying to regulate against it. They do not want cash. They want to go as digital as possible.
It's basically gone already.
Yeah. So at some point, the ATM itself, unless it still provides a value, and it just becomes like a point of sale interface. So then is it really an ATM? It just becomes a point of sale, right?
And really, do you even need ATMs? Because pretty soon you just need your phone.
Yeah, agreed.
Right.
Yeah. So like these are things that I think about, and I go, hey, you know, so I could be one of the largest operators of an ATM company in this state or in multiple states or whatever. I'm not, but I could be. And I could know that, hey, the writing's on the wall and eventually this is going away, but I'm just going to ride it into the grave, right? Like, and that's the mentality a lot of people will take. They'll know that something's going away in 5 years or 6 years or 10 years, but they're going to make what they're making, and they're going to make it until they can't make it anymore. And they'll kind of ride it until it fails.
Yeah, and you just take all your hardware, your equipment, just throw it away.
Yeah.
And recycle it.
And recycle it.
And write it off because it's you just milked it for everything you get out of it.
You just go down with the ship.
And well, I don't know that you go down.
No, you just let the ship go.
You let the ship go, right?
Decommission it.
Yeah. If you look at stocks and publicly traded companies and certain things, like everybody thinks it's a big surprise sometimes when they go under, but sometimes they went under on purpose.
Yeah.
It's part of the plan, right? And I'm not saying they were started to go under. I'm saying at some point they knew at some point in the future they would go under, but they had to let it run its course.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to let a business cycle take its place. And, you know, unfortunately with opportunity, anytime you have big opportunity, what you really need to be thinking about is what industry is that disrupting?
Yeah.
Right.
And also, if you're that industry that's being disrupted, you should be investing heavily in the industries that are disrupting you.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
So you're transitioning.
You're hedging your bet, right?
Yeah.
Literally, if you're on a local scale, if somebody's coming in and just dominating you, well, you know what you should be investing in, right? If you can't out-compete with them, then you should invest with them.
Yeah.
Figure out a way to partner with them.
Can't beat them, join them,
Yeah.
Some level, yeah. And that's a good way to hedge your bet. You know, if you're making, you know, let's just pick an arbitrary number. You're making $500,000 a year, and then it goes to 400, and you think next year's gonna be 300, and you know it's going down. Well, I'd spend the next 2 or 3 or 4 years taking all that extra money and investing in your competition that's putting you out of business.
Yeah.
And if that's a publicly traded company, that's really easy to do. If it's a technology or a franchise or another product that you need to be, you may have to kind of shift gears. But unfortunately, some people do ride it into the ditch and let it crash everything they've got to.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So,
I guess it's hard to let go, I guess, for some people. I mean, they work so hard on a thing.
They fight change.
Yeah.
They think if they fight change, that they'll stop it, but the reality is it doesn't.
Change,
You have communities, cities, small towns that have fought change for a long time, and what's happened, unfortunately, is they were successful in that micro environment, that area.
Yeah.
But the rest of the world moved on, and the world immediately around them moved on, and so they ended up being really, really, really far behind.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a lot of towns where I grew up.
Yeah.
like coal and stuff like that,
So
and then it left. And
they
then,
may have thought
yeah.
they won, and maybe they did, because if what's important to the citizens of that community
Yeah.
was to do that, and that's what the city did, well, then I think they accomplished the goal. If they looked after the interest of their people, and then, but at some point it became obvious to them that they could no longer do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of that too is people in positions of power. They have a good thing going for themselves, and they don't want to give it up.
True.
But I think you see that with technology. People try to regulate technology because they have some interest from a certain group of companies or a company that is really pushing against that disruptive technology. But the reason you can't stop technology is because if we stop using it, or we over-regulate it and don't allow it to advance, then other countries are going to surely use that technology.
Yeah.
And then we'll be behind, and then we'll have a huge problem.
Yeah, and so think about it on a country scale or an
Societal scale.
a societal scale, but
Yeah.
you can take and scale that all the way up or scale it down. It's the same effect, even locally. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. So I don't know. We're the last time I was on, Seth, I think it was just you and I, right?
Yeah, it was just us.
And I made the joke, and I should probably clarify real quick, because I said we'll go ahead and do it again if you don't mind. Like, Mike Bennett is homeless. Where's my camera? Is it over here?
Yeah.
Mike Bennett is homeless, right? But then we'll put an asterisk, if you don't mind, and if possible. And I should give some context. But the house that I went and bought that day actually finally just closed today. So
Nice.
kind of funny. But there were some delays on the other end, and we actually were able to fully close it today. It's been recorded as of today. And I should probably clarify real quick. Mike owns quite a few properties and has lots of investments, and he does not show that he's successful by any stretch of the imagination. He's a very humble guy.
He's Zuckerberg's it.
He's Zuckerberg's it. He's a conservative guy. He's humble. He's conservative. He's hardworking, and he has a lot of traits that I think he got from his father. Like he just works hard, right? That being said, technically he doesn't own a home that he lives in.
He's transitioning.
He's transitioning, so that was where the joke came from. But he owns lots of things, lots of properties. But anyway,
Very successful dude.
Very successful dude. So I should probably clarify that it was just a joke, because some people took it seriously. But
Oh.
anyway, I thought it was funny, and I think he does too now at this point.
Took a while.
They were reaching out to him like, "Hey man, are you okay? Like, can we help? Like, is everything good?" So
That's funny.
he caught a little shit. But anyway, what was the point of that? So I did close on that
Yeah,
that
close on the
house.
house.
And we were talking about what was I getting ready to say?
That you're going to sell that to Mike, right?
No. Well, yeah, I could, yeah, if
Or
he wants
maybe,
it.
yeah.
But I was just saying, like, that's an example of we continue to move forward.
Yeah, always
we
changing.
still looking for opportunity. Still,
Oh, yeah.
Neil and I have multiple businesses that we're investing time, effort, energy, and money, resources into in multiple states and multiple things, and including the studio and some of the other things that be up and coming. And it's one of those things, you just gotta. The world is where it is. The interest rates are where they are, and you gotta find the opportunity based on where things are today.
You think of it like a board game, kind of.
Yeah.
It's the rules, except the rules constantly change.
It's like
It's
a
like-
toddler's playing with you.
It's like a D&D game.
Yes, that's better.
Yeah.
Well, like, everybody thinks that you just have to be successful. Like, it's like, oh, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I just need to find this widget or this service or product that sells. That's not, when you do that and you're successful, then you have to figure out, and you got to how to turn yourself into Fort Knox, because the liabilities that you face, the risks that you have, are not just competition, right? It's all these other things. There's a myriad of other things. So the life of an entrepreneur, which I think that word is abused, but it's definitely ups and downs. It's valleys and it's peaks. It's highs and lows, right? And how you navigate that as a business owner makes all the difference.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting. It's been an interesting. I don't know, how long has it been? Like, I feel like it's been
6
going
months.
on. Yeah, it's been at least that.
At least.
It's been weird for a while.
It's been weird since COVID.
Yeah, it's been weird
Things
since
were
COVID.
great before COVID.
Let's just say, can we say how fucking crazy it is that 3 years has passed?
I know. God.
Yeah.
It's insane. Yeah.
I mean, was it 15 days to stop the spread or something like that? What was does anybody remember what that joke was? Like,
I'll tell you who navigated COVID well.
Who was that?
Giant corporations.
Oh yeah, goddamn.
They raked it in, dude.
Yeah, man, I missed the boat there. I should have developed a fake vaccine, like I should have got in on that, man. Why couldn't we invest in
that's a real vaccine. It's just
well, it had to change the definition of vaccine to make it a real vaccine.
There's some well, that is true.
Yeah. So
it's a real technology.
A real technology.
It really does work, not the way they originally said it does.
Yeah.
But also the ability they have to make everybody take it, even with the information they have, is where you see a lot of political power.
Yeah.
Well, you see a lot of corporate power. Because they had record profits too.
Yeah,
I think they made $100 billion just last year.
So glad. And no, if you got it out there, it was your choice. And hey, congrats to you. If
I got the vaccine.
If you're happy about it, awesome. I did not.
They did just come out with a study that said that if you naturally caught COVID, it's as effective or maybe more effective than two shots of the vaccine.
Yeah, so I have not had the shot. None of my family that I know of. I don't.
But you've had COVID twice.
I had COVID twice, so and I
wouldn't get vaccinated either.
I don't know if I'm.
I'm not an anti-vax person.
Yeah,
I'm a pro-science. I'm a science nerd. Anybody that's watched this show, I'm a science and technology nerd. I love the technology. I love the mRNA technology.
If anybody, not just the government, tries to roll something out overnight and says I have to do it, I don't care. You could be my business partner and tell me I have to do something, and for a split second, I'm going to go, wait a second here.
Yeah, well, that, and also
I don't like the original. That so
also when you have a new issue and you have all the major networks reporting the exact same thing immediately.
Yeah,
where's the journalism? Journalists are supposed to research things and get the scoop and find out all the data, both sides of a topic or an issue, and all the questions that go along with that issue. They're supposed to be answering those questions, asking those questions, and trying to answer those questions. And when it's a consensus, when it's too early to have a consensus, we should all be concerned. And then especially when you have independent media journalists, or independent networks that are saying something completely different, but they're still reputable journalists. There's those things concern me deeply.
No, I agree. It was interesting. It was to put it lightly, but
we got the banner on our video now. Yay! We talked about we got the banner.
Are they still doing that?
Yeah.
God Almighty. God Almighty. We got it. We're good. It's like it should be like a badge of honor, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think I don't. You can. Now you just get the banner. You can actually talk about this now, though, which is another problem,
right?
I mean, it's not saying like, oh, this person is an idiot or wrong. They're just saying, hey, head here to get more info.
I think make your own choices in life. That's the American way.
You have to have a propaganda banner.
Yeah. I think you should make your own choice in life. I think that's the point I was getting at. Is like I don't think I may feel a certain way, but I don't think I should force my religion, my food, my life, my whatever, my beliefs on anybody else. Like
no.
You're
and it's one thing if you're talking about something that that really does affect other people negatively, but this doesn't.
No,
I mean some people still believe it does, but it does. I mean the science. If you believe in the science, it says it doesn't.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. So when we started to go down the political view, recently we had Tom had a podcast with what's his name?
What does it look like?
I'm having a moment. He's
Jimmy Dore?
He's got 1 million. I think he may have like 1 million.
Oh, Jimmy Dore, yeah.
Jimmy Dore, yeah.
Jimmy Dore, yeah.
I thoroughly, and Jimmy, I would say that there's definitely some difference of opinions, right?
Yeah.
That we have, but the way he came about it, the way you were talking about the news and how they're unwilling to question, and like everybody's saying the exact same thing. Like Jimmy actually calls out things on both sides. He wasn't just, hey, let me attack this other side. He was calling out people that could be on his own side or could be, that you would think that, hey, it might be true, but we're not going to do that. And by him doing that, I enjoyed that whole podcast, by the way. One of my favorite ones. And I kind of nerd out with that, but by him doing that, it made me more receptive to consider his points on the other things he was thinking, even though we made different opinion. It actually brought me closer to his side because I didn't just feel like he was doing political talking points, right? Like if he was willing to call out the own hypocrisies within some of the people that he has relationships with or has within his political party, whatever, or some of the concerns.
Well, he's an independent now.
But if he was willing to do that, like for me, it's like, okay, it opens my mind up a little bit more than just if I was having a conversation or watching a video where somebody's just merely attacking the other side just to do
straw man thing.
Yeah,
well, I mean, it's kind of like whenever you with people and social stuff. It's like if someone's willing to look inwardly at themselves, and you're more likely to listen to them and talk. It's like, okay, this guy actually thinks about what he believes and what he's saying.
Yeah, man, it was. Yeah. I love the passion was also a thing for me. I like when somebody's passionate about.
Oh,
what
he
they're
got
saying.
fired up.
So I know they tried to back that off of here, but I actually enjoyed the shit out of that. I was like, yeah, man, I was at the edge of my seat on some of those points.
Good episode.
I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, I agree. Yeah. He's like, I'm against war, and at first I'm like, I don't know about that. Good wars, but then I start thinking about it, I'm like, well, actually, I'm for.
You're for peace.
I'm for protecting, doing what's necessary to protect and defend, but I'm not for being the aggressor or the bully or actively to create war to take somebody else's resources. Like I'm not for any of those things.
We have a lot to do. The U.S. had a lot to do with we always interfere with other countries' political systems if there's some benefit to us.
My belief, I guess, with war is like I'm not going to go seek it out. Just like I don't want to go seek out trouble in my life.
Well, it's $1 trillion industry.
Yeah, but if trouble comes to my door, it doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to retreat either.
Yeah.
And if I'm going out, I'll go out on my feet, you know, and that's okay.
Here you go.
So like that's the way I feel about it. Like I'll fight if I have to. I'd prefer not to.
Well, I feel like a lot of people, when they hear someone say, "Oh, I'm anti-war," then people think, "Oh, you think my cousin who fought."
No.
A lot of people think that. But,
I'm so pro police, sheriffs, deputies, law enforcement, like military. And I'm not saying that there aren't things that take place that shouldn't take place. I'm saying in general, men and women putting a badge on or putting a uniform on or going out there and willing to put their lives on the line. I'm so pro that.
Huge sacrifice.
Huge. So pro that, period, right? Doesn't mean I agree with every single thing. No, it doesn't. But I still, in general, I'm very, very pro that. Pro them, pro their sacrifice.
My problem is those people being abused by a corrupt system.
Yeah. So, you have patriotic, and maybe that's not the right word, but you have people that are willing to fight for the people they care about, the people they love, and the things they love. That's not in itself the issue. I think the issue is some of the other manipulations that take place at a very high level.
The bigger players, I guess.
I hate to get back to real estate, but I was reading this.
No, please, let's go back to real estate.
Let's go back.
So I was reading this study and I'm not going to call these guys out. I'll do that on another podcast and I'll have some facts in front of me. But I was reading the study and reading some books and they were talking about how the stock market has outperformed the real estate market as an investment, and they named all these different periods, and they said, the return on real estate when adjusted for inflation is like 2% or something annually, which is funny. And I got to tell you, one, people love to look at small windows, right? And when we're talking about stock or any other investment, the problem is when we have the ability to create a vacuum and only look at data within a certain set in a certain window.
Cherry pick.
You cherry pick. And so we got to wonder, well, why'd they pick this year versus that year? And a lot of times the devil's in the details. You can drastically affect the return and make things look. And this is where, like in our political system and in our news and all these other things, like that's what they do too. Like they pull certain data to make it look a certain way. And I don't like that. I don't like that when any party.
It's very manipulative.
I'm not a big statistics guy. I remember when I was I worked in broadcast news for a while, and anytime I get like statistics stuff, I'd be like, I don't understand it, so I'm not going to pretend I do and tell other people to understand it.
So
there's just a lot that goes in. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah. So what I'll touch on in both these books, neither one of them, they're stock people and they're stock families and they're very powerful stock families. They got to remember
the Pelosi's?
They're selling you. Yeah, the Pelosi's. We got to remember they're selling you, right? Like they're in stock, right? So part of their pitch is they want you to buy stock,
Look
right?
how good it is.
And so they source and they cite real estate returns, but what they fail to remember is that you can control and own real estate through leverage. And what I mean by that is that I'd say 99.9% of America does not pay cash for a home. I'm talking about residents. I'm not talking about big corporations. I'm talking about people that actually live in homes. They finance them. And if you're a veteran, there are all these different resources out there for first-time home buyers, for veterans, et cetera, where you have even through the great economy, even through bad economy, where you have no money down, 3% down, 5% down, 10% down, et cetera, options. So where I differ from their opinion is, let's just take a very basic example. Let's say that you could buy a $100,000 house for 3% down, which is $3,000, right? And you get financed through the VA. And you own that home, let's say for, 16 years. So in 16 years, the previous national average for a property to double in value is 16 years. So you bought a $100,000 house, you put $3,000 down, and you owned it for 16 years. Statistically, at the end of 16 years, that home is worth $200,000. Now, the way that those books are written and the way that the stock considers that return, they say, well, the return was the $100,000, the cost basis was $100,000. But see, what they don't take in is that the capital investment of the person that bought the house was $3,000.
Yeah.
Right. So what's their return on their investment, right? Their $3,000 investment returned them $100,000 in equity. And that's not counting debt pay down. That's not counting tax savings, right? Depreciation. That's not counting any of the other benefits that they get from owning a home, right? But their $3,000 grew by at minimum $100,000 in that 16 years. So if you look at the return from $3,000 to $103,000, assuming no debt pay down, that is massive, massive, right? You controlled a $100,000 asset. Even if the $100,000 asset in 16 years only went to $150,000, you still turned $3,000 into $50 additional thousand equity.
Now, what is that? What is that $100,000 actually, though? Because it's not $100,000 today. This is 16. What's $100,000 today in 16 years?
Well, that's the thing. So when we adjust for inflation, you also have to consider. So hey, when you adjust for inflation, right? That $100,000 house is now $200,000 house, and a big part of that's due to inflation. But nobody talks about the other part of the return. So if part of your return in a real estate holding is inflation, if real estate's a hedge against inflation, that's fine. But we don't include appreciation. And appreciation can be a supply and demand thing, right? So we look at like a local economy. Think about the best neighborhood, the best school district, the area where everybody in a town that somebody wants to live. Right? That's an appreciating real estate market, right? You have a supply and demand. You have a limited supply and an increasing demand because people want to be there. That's an appreciation, not an inflation rise in price. So inflation is a way that property grows, but also an appreciation of value grows. We have debt pay down that takes place. We have all these different things that are taking place. And so some of these stock market gurus, I'm not against the stock, by the way. I'm just saying they don't understand real estate. And if they did, I think they'd look at it a different way. But the reality is even if they do understand real estate, it's not a point. They're not trying to sell real estate, right? And as a matter of fact, I think if you look, the consensus is that big corporations want to turn us into a renter nation.
Yeah.
And it's another way to put you on the drip. You're going to have your $150 a month cell phone bill, your $1,500 a month rent, right? Your $600 or $700 or $800 a month car payment, et cetera. And, we put you on the never ending hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your whole life is just paying corporations to sustain yourself.
Exactly. So they're going to give you all the reasons that you shouldn't own a home, right? And I hate to go against. I think if you don't own a home, you're paying for home ownership one way or another.
Yeah.
You are. The difference is, are you going to own it or is the landlord going to own it?
Yeah. Is it your investment or someone else's?
Right? Like that's the key for me. And so it's hard for me to justify being a tenant long term. It's hard for me to justify it short term. But you got to do what you got to do. And I think, and there's a lot of people out there that make really good points about renting where you live and owning what you rent, right? And what they're basically saying is, hey, don't spend the money to own your own home. If you're going to own something, rent it to a tenant. Let someone else pay for it. And I understand that. But the vast majority of people will never do that, right? They hear that advice and they justify not buying a home based on that, and they never buy a rental property. That's one.
I think the vast majority of people probably can't do that now.
They probably can't. You're right.
Yeah.
And then the other side of this though for me is that if you're going to take that mentality, right, that you want to really put your money to work for you, then buy the most modest home that you can in the best area you want to be, right? Find the area that let's say that you can't afford to be in that area, right? Let's say that you can only afford the neighborhood you can afford. I still say buy the house. And what you do is you work on a community enrichment program. Get involved in the community watch, put up signs, go to the other owners and the other neighbors and other people and come up with a plan to enrich your community.
Yeah,
right?
And you could probably get money from the city
Absolutely,
or the state
sure.
to help improve that community.
Right? Like get active in your community and build the values in your own community, clean up your own community. And I think if you can't buy in the community you want, create the community you want that you already live in, right?
Or you could go out in the backyard and shoot a gun up in the air maybe once a month.
That helps.
And then, no harm, no foul. It's a blank.
Yeah, it's a blank. It doesn't count. You know, it's technically, this could be the county.
I might get another banner on it.
Hey, these are my air rights right here. I should be able to shoot my gun in my air rights. But it's just.
I've never thought of that. Wow.
But I mean, so my biggest advice has always been the cheapest home in the best neighborhood you could afford.
Yeah.
But then let's take it all the way down. Let's just say that you got the home you got and you're not in the position to move right now. Then work on enriching your community.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's something that and you got to be tactful about how you do it. Don't attack your neighbor. Right. But you have to be tactful about it. But I think enrich your own community. Right. Create the community that you want to live in. And guess what? Your property values are going to go up, right? Because people like me and people much, much, much more active in real estate than I am, but when they drive communities, they price a lot of it is based on the feel, the look, are the yards upkept, like very basic. When I buy properties and when Neil and I do projects, most of it is just
the vibe.
Yeah, and it's
there's an intuition to it.
There's an intuition.
Is this what's the cost? What's the risk? What's the longevity of the project? Is this going to pay me tomorrow or in 10 years? Yeah. That sort of, and is it a good deal?
Neil is, I like the way his mind works I'm not afraid to spend money in a business. Neil and I share that.
Yeah.
And many, many times though, some of the things that we want to do are so basic, like paint, cleaning up, putting in new trash receptacles. Quality. Basic things though, right? Yeah. But quality basic things, but basic things. And so in these communities, if people just simple things like just cleaning up the yard and mowing and paint, a fresh paint. And I know there's a money thing here in some of these communities. So, do what you can do, right? And I think it starts with that. And then
and those are cheap things to do.
Yeah.
And they make a huge difference. They're cheap things to do, but they add a lot of value.
Yeah, and if you're out there and you're younger and you're looking for ways to make money in that community, right? Maybe it's an elderly community. Maybe there's people that don't have the ability to do these things. We'll go off and offer that as a service, right? Enrich and have your children get involved and enrich your community at what they can. If you can mow your neighbor's yard and you should get $30, but they can only give you 10. I'd say mow the yard and take your $10.
Still got $10. Yeah.
Take your $10 and mow the yard.
And their yard looks better, so your house value is higher.
Yeah, and I mean, and I'm a little different, but I've had years where I've mowed my neighbor's yards.
Yeah.
Not me physically. I paid other people to mow their yards. And you got to be tactful about how you do it.
Yeah.
But I just said, hey, my guy's already here. Do you mind if I just have him? Touch up the parts that touch you mind if I do that? And then next thing you know, I was like, hey man, just mow it all. And I did it for years. I know one specific property I mowed for 2.5 years.
Nice.
Right?
Did they ever figure out it was you?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
It became like a joke.
Yeah.
But I mean, like they
Too
never.
bad you're not my neighbor, man.
Bro, they're like they had 2.5 foot grass. I mean, like it was just I just hated driving by it, right? And I don't want to call her.
If you don't have an HOA or anything, you can't.
And I don't want to call her out. She was a single mother, 2 kids, oldest son who used to mow it, was away at college.
Yeah.
Teenage daughter, I think she was at the time she was like 13 or 14. And she was struggling, and it would just get big and she'd go out there and try and the grass was 2 foot tall. You're not push mowing that. So, I just got to the point I'm like, what, it is what it is. And I think it cost me like I don't know, man.
Like $40 a week or something.
Yeah, I mean it was nothing.
Maybe
I did
30.
every other week, $30-$40 every other week, and it was pristine. And she loved me to death.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
So anyway,
you're getting to know your neighbor too.
Well, I didn't want to
in your neighborhood.
I didn't really want to get to. Not that I have anything against her. I don't want to be like.
You're not neighborly.
I don't want to. I'm so busy. I don't need another friend, right? And I don't mean that to be like.
Be kind to your neighbor.
Yeah, be kind. Like be a good neighbor. I think that's key. But I wasn't trying to do anything more than just be a good neighbor. And it was self-serving too, because I didn't want to look at it.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, that's my rant on real estate, partially.
Yeah.
I'll just start parking my car in front of Daniel's house.
Right.
Get
new tires. Oh man, you got a crack in your windshield. It's irritating me.
Yeah.
So
needs to be painted.
Yeah, this car
just replace, just trade it for something else.
Yeah.
You come back and it's a nicer car.
Be like, hey man, you got that title?
Thanks, man. That's mighty neighborly of you.
That's the nicest neighbor that's kind of an asshole I've ever met. Just mows my yard. He got rid of my car, actually. And I didn't even know I wanted a truck, but he said I should have one. So, that's what I got.
Nice.
On a side note, I went out to crank the caddy the other day with Tom, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Probably the battery.
I was very disappointed. He has a battery, so I need somebody to fix it for me. But if anybody out there knows anybody this is an 85 Cadillac, and I don't want to do anything with it other than make it look like it's in its original state. But anybody out there that knows anybody that works on them, I'd love to do that. I'm going to start closing business deals in that thing.
It would be pretty
it's a cool
pretty
car.
cool to see someone pull up in that.
Yeah, it's got the CB in it still. I think that's awesome.
The original white leather interior.
Yeah.
It's pretty dope.
I'm just going to point this out there to all the nefarious people out there. I think you should be using CBs. I feel like we got a
big portion of our audience is nefarious.
Nefarious,
I looked on the analytics and it said nefarious.
Nefarious.
And that was like 46%.
Dr. Nefario.
Yeah.
But CBs, man, it's got a CB in it. I kind of want to play with it. It's probably going to be truckers on there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, fun stuff.
Surprised CBs are still a thing.
Well, that was from 85. Back in 85, I'm sure that was like the.
Oh yeah, up until.
Way to talk.
That car's got automatic windows, a sunroof. Like this was 85. Like that.
Well, Cadillacs had automatic high beams in the 50s, I think.
What I don't get is my rental car doesn't have some of those things.
I know.
Yeah, I'm in right now. Like it's like.
And that stuff's cheap too.
It makes no sense.
Yeah. All that stuff should be just basic.
I was slightly worried, Seth.
Yeah.
That people were going to find out I must be a fraud. I'm in I went to the Raleigh, all those meetings yesterday. I did all the stuff I did. 15 hours yesterday worth of stuff. Real estate closings in a Nissan Sentra.
Oof.
Yeah. And I'm a big guy.
Like an idiot.
I'm a big guy.
What happened to your car?
So my flight plans got changed. And I was supposed to fly into Charlotte. So my car's sitting at Charlotte Airport. I flew into Raleigh, had to rent a car, drive to Randolph County for a closing, drive back to Raleigh for all the meetings, and then meetings all night long, and then ended up staying here in Greensboro last night, got a hotel.
And all they had was a Nissan Sentra?
All I had available was a Nissan. I was lucky I got that. I was almost in a problem actually, but it was a Sentra and actually a smaller car than that. It was one other option. I can't remember, but it was smaller.
Yeah.
A Fiat.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was a Fiat actually.
Yeah.
It was smaller but more expensive, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, so I still got it outside. I'm rocking it. I'm thinking, maybe I should pick me up a Sentra.
So that's that thing we were talking about yesterday. If you want to be treated like $1 million, you gotta look like $1 million. Do you guys? Is that like a mantra you guys believe in?
Well, I was in. I got stranded in Jacksonville, just having an electric truck a couple weeks ago, and I was at a Kia dealership, plugged into their 6 kilowatt charger for 3 hours.
Wow.
And just to get enough range to drive 50 miles to a real charger. and I almost traded my truck for a Kia while I was there. I was like, I'm just going to... That Telluride is a nice looking vehicle.
It is actually, yeah.
And it can drive right now.
So there's a book called The Millionaire Next Door. And I believe that's the title. And it's... There's a lot of famous lines. It gets quoted all the time. But there's a thing called... I think it's in Texas, and it's called Cowboys with Big Hats but No Cattle. And what it basically talks about are people and social media. This book was spot on before social media really blew up. But people that appear to be very wealthy, but don't have any cattle, right? They don't have any substance that backs them up. And the internet's full of those people. So I don't think that you need to look like $1 million to be treated that way. Matter of fact, I wear this exact same outfit to literally shorts, a t-shirt, tennis shoes, etc. Normally they're black. The black ones, I got tired of gluing the sides of them, and I had a couple of black pairs, and they were all just falling apart. So I got this pair of these white ones from a friend, Parker, for free, and I figure I'm going to wear them for a little while. But anyway, the point is that I wear the same clothes, the same outfit, the same things, whether I'm working out, in a meeting, in a business setting, closing a deal, it doesn't matter. I think if we're just looking at first impressions, I have an extra obstacle I have to overcome possibly. Yeah. But the reality is the guy in a suit that doesn't have any substance next to me in my shorts and t-shirt with substance, right? If I can carry on a conversation, the moment I start speaking, the person that is selling whatever the thing is or involved in whatever business deal I'm in is going to understand that I deserve to be there, deserve to be having that conversation. Yeah. And the person that looks the part but doesn't have the ability to back it up, it won't last long.
Yeah. Right? And also, to people who aren't millionaires, you may not look like a millionaire, but to millionaires, people that have been successful for a long period of time, they kind of, all that shit doesn't mean anything anymore. And you reach a level where you're like, I just want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
And I don't have to impress anybody.
Yep.
If I need to impress someone, I just share my knowledge.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. I could care less. Actually, if we're being really technical, the money that we have, money is all about utility that it provides. It's the only reason it has value to me at this point. So if I'm not using the money to improve my life, then what is it for, right? And that means, why would I spend money to look a way that I feel uncomfortable?
Right.
I don't need to look a certain way to impress somebody else. That to me shows desperation, right? So there's this other side of it. And also I would tell you, I encourage anyone to describe what a millionaire looks like. And I just couldn't do it because they look like everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
I yesterday was with a billionaire worth a little over $4 billion in downtown Raleigh. And he's walking in downtown Raleigh and opened up a tab. They were doing a little celebration from a big deal they closed. And it's one of his brokers, I'm assuming. And he opened up a tab at a bar. And he was walking back to his house, right? Like, this is a guy worth, I think, $4.5 billion. And he looked normal. Yeah. He looked like a normal guy.
He didn't have a monocle or anything.
No, I mean, like he was walking. He didn't roll up in a $1 million car. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that people with money don't spend money. I'm just saying in general.
Didn't have a walking cane?
No, he just was walking. I mean,
no top hat or anything.
Yeah. You would have never. You couldn't. I couldn't have told you if he was just a guy that was out walking. I mean, like just a guy enjoying the early spring-ish weather we had yesterday, you know? So, I mean, who knows what a millionaire looks like? It looks like everybody, right? I do think there are professions or jobs or things where you have to dress because, you can't go into a court and not be in a suit, right? But I think bar required outfit, I don't think it matters. I think the substance of you as an individual matters way more than what you're wearing.
Yeah, I think I've only seen you in a suit once. That one night.
No, man, I don't like it. I had to wear one yesterday, and I'm not a fan.
Not a fan.
I'm not against it for other people. It's not for me.
I don't. Before I lost my leg, I didn't really mind it, but now I hate wearing dress shoes because they're so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I'll
well, at least you only are uncomfortable on one foot.
Well, that's true. Yes. Only 50% uncomfortable. Well, it affects everything.
Yeah, I'm just fucking. But I'm allowed to make that joke, just so all you guys out there.
But I don't mind.
Neil's giving me permission.
Yeah, for sure. Unoffendable. But I don't mind wearing like a cool blazer. Like when I do a stand-up show, if it's a decent show, I'll wear a blazer, but I'll wear a t-shirt underneath it. It's like because I like style. I'm a visual guy, but.
I like looking at it, like no homo and nice dick, all that.
Thanks, man.
I like when he dresses like he looks perfect. Like he's got a look. I like it. It's like he's kind of like James Bond meets whatever. I don't know what yet, but like, Idris Elba, that guy.
Yeah.
Neil to me is like, and I know this is a weird reference, but he like reminds me of like James Bond meets Idris. I can't never say his name.
Elba. They were talking about him being James Bond.
And
that's right. Yeah.
What was the one where the Kingsman?
That's a good movie.
Right? Like he's a mixture of those three when he wears a suit in my mind, right?
And I appreciate. Yeah, I mean, you do too. You appreciate nice clothes.
No, I do. I do. I just don't.
But I prefer to be comfortable. Like this is what I would.
When he dresses up, I'm like, oh man, he looks good.
Yeah.
He looks like he fits that part. Like I like it.
When I'm doing comedy, I'm on stage, so I feel like when you're presenting something to a crowd of people, and I'm an older guy too. I'm 42, so I'm older than most comics. So I feel like it kind of gives me a little bit of an edge, and also have to hide my arms because I'm muscular, which is not always good for comedy.
Hey, this guy's strong. I'm not gonna laugh at him.
He's in shape.
Right, yeah.
This guy could beat me up. He's not 20.
So if I can just wear my, like I'll just wear a cool T-shirt with a blazer and some jeans, and then it's sort of, I think it helps the act.
It's a good balance. The blazer's like, oh, what is this guy gonna sell us something? And then they see the cool shirt and they're like, oh wait, no, he's funny. And then they see the jeans and they're like, oh, he's casual. Okay,
but I'm still comfortable though.
Yeah. Yep. And I don't know. I just prefer. I even got rid of. So my oldest son, he negotiated with me, but he bought my my red Apple Watch.
Nice.
And that was a little bit of color that I had other than these free shoes I've got on right now.
You just remind me of a cool thought, but yeah, I'm sorry.
And now I've got my black Whoop on, my Whoop strap. And
do you like that better than the Apple Watch?
I love it.
What's a Whoop strap?
So only because it's not a watch, and it doesn't. It doesn't tell time, which I love. And two, it doesn't go off. It doesn't notify me. It doesn't ding. So, like, I'm in a world already where I'm dealing with.
You're in a world of noise.
Yeah, thousands of distractions a day minimum.
Yeah, it's really insane.
And the watch was driving me fucking crazy. I get all the analytics. This thing supposedly runs 1,000 to 1 the test that the Apple Watch does from the analytics as far as for my health. Oh. So I get all of that, and I love it. It's just solid black. I don't have a screen. I don't have any. It's not a distraction for me, so I'm loving it. But anyway, I sold it to my son. He negotiated with me, and now he has it. So
I'm surprised they had the ankle-sized brace.
Yeah.
You big frame, dude.
So you said you got reminded about a point.
Yeah, you said the thing your son bought that watch from me. I was telling a buddy of mine about how you. Well, I was talking to him about how I try to teach Isla how to make good decisions and be responsible and all these things. And I was saying that you, my business partner, you have a really good system with your boys, like a financial structure that you've worked out with them where they can earn money for doing certain things, but also that they can use their money to buy things that they want. Yeah. And the way you do that is you let them, they'll share with you, hey, Dad, I want to buy this thing. And if it's something you feel like adds value to them, then you may go in half on it with them.
Yep.
If you feel like there's no value added, it's just a pleasure thing, then they have to spend you can buy 100%. This. And the example I gave him was if one of your sons came to you and said, hey, I want to buy this remote control car. And you look at it, it's just a remote control car. You'd be like, well, that's fine. If you want to spend your money on that, you can, but you're only going to have this much money left.
Yep. And you're paying for 100%.
Yeah, you're paying 100% of that. But if your son one of your sons came to you and said, "Hey, I want to buy this remote control car, but it's a remote control car kit. I have to build the whole thing from the ground up before I can use it."
Perfect example.
You're like, "Hey, yeah, I'll go in half on that. That's awesome because it adds value to them."
Every time.
And I'm the same with Isla about things that she wants. You know, if she wants, if she wants a game, if it's like Roblox, which is meaningless, then then. I'm not real crazy about buying that.
I don't split it with the boys. At this point, they take their money they earn and they want to buy it. Yeah. And you got to be careful as a parent. I'm not telling you how to parent your kids. Figure out what you. But I'll tell you why I do this. It's not my job to tell these kids that they can only buy what I want. And you're gonna go, yeah, it is. It's my kid. But hold on a second. Let them figure out some stuff that they want. Right?
They have to.
Let them figure out if they want to play the violin or tap dance or play the piano, or if they see value in engineering related items or puzzles, like, why should I only tell them to buy things that I see value in? Right now, if I don't see any value in it, then hey, and I go, do I see value in it? And more so for mine is educational. Like, are they actually physically taking something apart? Are they putting it together?
Is it adding something to their life?
Adding something to their life. Like, then I say, hey, I'll come in half and half with that, 50-50. If it's a requirement for an educational thing, like a requirement for a sport, like the jersey or whatever, like
that's different.
I pay for that 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
If they want a special bag, not Nike specifically, but they want a Nike bag to carry their stuff around in, well, that's not a requirement.
Right.
And I don't particularly find that necessary because they already have a bag. Well, I'm not paying any of it.
No, yeah.
And you can pay 100%. And
also, I'll tell Isla no a lot.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of stuff, you just don't need it. Because if you buy your kid everything they want, you're going to spoil them and ruin them.
Yeah.
And with Isla, she's not spoiled. Like, she doesn't even ask for things. She'll pick up something in the store and then put it back. And occasionally I'll be like, hey, you know what? You can have that today. You've been really good. Like, you can have this.
Yeah.
And
so you're doing. See, I've gotten to the point now where they got to earn it. Like, I've got them so dialed in. Listen, my 6-year-old helped build some things. Like, they got it dialed in. Like, the first thing that Daniel builds, my oldest, he times it. So if he builds a second or a third, I'm not paying him for his time. He's figuring out how long it takes him to do a thing, and he understands that he gets better at the second, the third, and the fourth, and the fifth.
Right.
And he's going, well, I think for this I would charge this, and then we would negotiate. I encourage it. My wife.
He should start hiring his brothers to.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So his youngest brother has kind of caught on and is starting to jump in, and Daniel has figured out that he can pay his youngest brother $1 or $2. So Daniel did something and was supposed to get $15, and he agreed to pay Cameron $1. And so I had to step in and go, look, while I understand that Cameron agreed to do it for $1, do you think as your brother that you're incentivizing him, you're encouraging him? He did a lot of help.
Sure.
And don't you feel like if you were doing as much as he did that you would want more than $1? And had to have a conversation with him. And he goes, okay, I'll do $5 for Cameron and $10 for me. And I was like, okay. And that's reasonable. Yeah. Daniel ran the project. Daniel did more of the work. Daniel let him in. It was his deal to do, right?
Yeah.
But now Daniel made $10 and he subcontracted out for $5 additional help. I encourage that behavior. My wife still sometimes is like, no, you can't do that to the kids. And I'm like, oh, no, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I want them to negotiate with me. I'm not offended by that. Like, if I tell you no, feel free to negotiate. Mm-hmm. Right? I
also restrict the time that Isla spends doing things that aren't beneficial or meaningful.
Yeah, I've tried to do that as well because, I try to give them a lot of leeway, but sometimes like they're being targeted, they're being marketed to, they're being they don't quite get it, and so I still got to protect them on some level. Like
the Roblox game there is some benefit to it. It's a social media platform. It's a virtual social media platform for kids, which has its positives and negatives, but it's very addictive. So she's only allowed to be on that for 30 minutes a day.
Yeah,
and she spends 7, sometimes more than 7 hours a week just reading.
Yeah.
And she reads fast.
Yeah, she's ahead.
She's on a high level in reading.
I don't know what quote unquote average children are reading, but I know it's not anywhere close to that.
No, yeah. And she's and she loves it. She enjoys reading, and she also loves to draw and write. That's kind of how she expresses herself. She's very creative, so I let her do that stuff as much as she wants.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even playing with her toys. When she's playing, she's using her imagination. That's good. It's physical. Playing with physical toys. Or if she wants to play chess, like Isla, you can play chess as much as you want.
Yeah.
Because anything that adds value to her life, I encourage it. If it's playing the drums, an instrument, do that all you want. If you want to play a new instrument, I'll buy an instrument for you.
Absolutely.
That sort of thing. I encourage.
So with the instruments, by the way, same thing. I agree. I'll pay for those.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll pay 100%.
Yeah. Now, if he has a guitar, because all of my boys have guitars, if they had a guitar and they wanted another one,
that's different.
That's not way.
Unless they're just crushing it on the guitar,
and then I'll probably knowing my oldest at this point, he'd probably charge me to listen. Which I like.
That's a great idea.
Which I like. So
do a concert, sell tickets.
So he he's going to put a YouTube video up later. He did a full study, like a 30-some hour, where Monster Energy drink. He took the doors apart the actual locks itself that lock like the deadbolts. He took them off the door and soaked them. This is for the beach houses because of all the ocean and the corrosion and the rust, and soaked them in Monster, and all the rust came. And then reinstalled the door.
Oh, it worked.
Yeah, and it worked, and they work. And so he made like a little video.
Go drink Monster Energy.
What do you charge you for that?
Yeah, so I paid because it was a study he wanted to test to see to conduct a study. So I bought the Monster Energy drink, and he did all the work. And then I think he wants $5 a door, and he's
it's more of an experiment, I guess.
Like $3. So he's doing an experiment. That was it. Yeah. So I agreed to cover the Monster. He's doing the thing, and I think he's getting $5 a door. So
man, he's giving you a deal.
Yeah,
I think so. But $5 a door is really cheap.
It sounds like a rally car, though.
Yeah, the Monster's running me. It'll take 3 cans of Monsters. It'll be $9. So it's going to cost me $14. He's fixing 3 doors. And he's getting an educational experience out of it. And at first I was like, and I mean, I feel like it's a deal. I'm good. He's fixing 3 problems too.
That's cool, yeah.
And that's probably on the lower end of the stuff that he does. But it's just like that's how his mind works. So knowing him, he would charge me if he was like really good at guitar. He'd be like, "All right, Dad, I'm gonna you want to come here and listen? It's gonna be $10 for." And I like that. I mean, why not?
Well, you're teaching him how to manage money.
Yeah,
and that's important. A lot of people don't know how to manage money. A lot of adults don't know how to manage money.
Yeah, it's funny at this point. I think Daniel's almost good enough. Definitely in the next year or so, I'm gonna start letting them negotiate. I'm gonna start selling things publicly, and when they show up to buy it, I'm gonna let Daniel negotiate it.
That's good.
I think it'd be good practice for him with me there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
but just to interact with people.
It's good.
I'm curious to see if people will negotiate with him.
Well, I mean, he has such an advantage.
Yeah.
He has your mind as a child.
I'm curious. So let's say you show up to buy something from a child, an adult thing, but from a child.
Yeah.
Would you negotiate with the kid?
Oh, I would for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but see, I wonder if other people will.
If they were good,
deal's a deal, man.
Yeah, I agree. I would too, but I'm wondering about other people. Like,
and if he's a good negotiator, I'll give him the I'll let the deal go in his favor a little more.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah,
just because I'm impressed.
Yeah, see, that's
valuable too.
That's the kind of adult I need to sell some things to at some point in the future. We're gonna
someone that's down, just like, okay, cool, and like haggle with them. Like,
no, I need them to haggle. Yeah, they can't just be like,
okay, buddy. It's got to be like,
I want to,
like
negotiation.
Yeah.
Dude, we were arguing over $1 yesterday. I say argue. It was a negotiation, but we started to debate. We were $1 apart. And I'm like, listen, man, I feel like this is more than a fair offer. And he goes, yeah, but I'm the one doing the work and I don't. And I was like, that's a really good point. It's a really good point. We'll meet in the middle. It'll be 50 cents. He goes, Dad, you told me never to meet in the middle. I was like, you're right. I did. I was like,
so it's a no deal.
Yeah. So
can't have it.
I guess we're too far apart then. And he goes, all right, well, we're not meeting in the middle, but I was willing to accept that number anyway. I said, okay, fair enough. I'll accept it as well.
Nice.
But it was like, he's slick.
It's like when the master sees the student be able to do that.
I think it's fun. I'm gonna bring him in and let him negotiate with Seth. Yeah,
okay,
Seth, next time you get a pay raise, we're not. I'm bring Daniel in, and
I'm
gonna tell Daniel that every $1 he withholds from you, he gets to keep.
Sure. I'm down. That'd be good content.
That's a bad system.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, he did ask me to pay you. Actually, he asked if he could pay you to spend some time with him to show him some like tips for like some editing or some different tips and tricks. So
sure, yeah.
Yeah, so he did bring that up.
That's a good idea.
I showed him one of the where you brought, I think it was Thanos.
Yeah, made the glove come up.
The glove, like I've showed him some of those like little creative things, and he's like, "Oh, I would love to know." So yeah, he did say he was like, "Yeah, ask him how much he'd charge me to teach me how to do these things."
You should let him come in and just shadow him one day while he's editing.
Our own little intern.
But I'm going to tell him he's got to buy you lunch though.
All right.
There's got to be some cost to him so he learns.
All right.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
Yep.
Are you ready to wrap this thing up, man?
Yeah, man. I haven't even checked my phone. I've been trying. I'm looking at it. I'm staring at it real sexy like right now. Like, oh, I know there's something under there for me.
Oh, it's overwhelming.
Yeah, when I look at it, it's going to be huge. I'm gonna
80 messages.
I'm sure. Let's take it. You think 80?
Oh, yeah.
Probably, yeah.
I'm going to say 70.
All right. So first thing says 40 notifications, 6 notifications, 64 notifications. Let's pull this up. 13, 53, 1, 9, 1, 22. Yeah. So I don't know how many.
250 or something.
So
200.
So I got a few.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it down because I'm already starting to get
maybe
stressed.
180.
Yeah. Now the good news is a lot of those are just updates, but there are definitely some I'm gonna have to respond to.
Yeah,
so.
most of it's just.
So yeah, we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
We did it.
Well, it's fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
It's been a while since we've done one of these.
Yeah, it's good.
So,
it's good.
well,
hopefully there's some good quality for you guys. There's something of value in there.
Yeah, I think so.
And if not, I had a good fucking time anyway.
No, we figured out, next time we can have your son come in and we can haggle with me.
Yeah.
I mean, not over my pay. Please don't.
No, I'm just kidding.
Over stuff. Other stuff, yes, that would be fun.
Yeah, he'll talk. I talk a lot. He will. I love him to death, and I encourage it. So I'm trying to be careful. I don't discourage it.
Yeah.
He will talk you to death.
Oh yeah.
We were out the other day at the fire. I blew myself up, by the way. Basically, I don't know which camera can see. Maybe I send you the picture. Maybe I send you the picture to superimpose here. But there's a flame. Is that camera right there?
Yeah.
There's a flame. I don't know if it'll be able to see or not.
Oh, we see it.
Yeah.
So you see that? So, yeah. So anyway, I thought I got away with it. Last story, real quick. I thought I got away with it. I was like, oh shit, singed my chest hair. Like it blew up.
Yeah.
I'm not a technically savvy guy. Like I couldn't start a fire on purpose. That's what this proved. I was literally struggling to set wood on fire.
Yeah.
With gasoline, a lighter, the starter logs. I had all kinds of stuff.
You're not mechanically savvy. You're technically savvy.
Technically savvy I think as they come, but
you can use technology well.
Yeah, but working with my hands stuff like this, like I was struggling getting the fire to go. So I'm like soaking the wood, soaking it right.
It's
I'm
not
like,
because you can't do it either. You just don't care.
I don't care.
You don't make $1 million. I
was like,
a fire.
Yeah, I was like, I can't figure. I was like, I'm not. This can't be that hard. It's wood, right? You light it on fire, it should burn, right? I just didn't take any time, so I was like, I just put gas on it. Oh. And anyway, I kept flipping it with the lighter, and I was like, and it wasn't working. And I was thinking about it, I was like, I just poured more gas on it, as if I didn't have enough gas on it. And then when it hit, it went, woof, huge. I thought I got away with it. Jessica comes out. Oh my God, is everything okay? I'm like, what? She's like, the alarm system and the camera system just went off. Sounded like an explosion. And all I saw on the camera system was a ball of flame. And she's like, are you okay? What happened? And I'm like, oh, shit. And then she showed it to me. I was like, the damn camera system told on me. But luckily for me, Daniel was in the garage getting more wood because apparently between all the wood I had and all the gasoline, I needed more wood. So I sent him to get more wood, as if that was the problem.
Yeah.
I am happy to report that for the next 2.5 hours after that, the fire continually burned and Daniel talked the entire 2.5 hours. That was the whole point of the story. But anyway. So
awesome.
Yeah, and it was cool. I enjoyed the time with him.
No, that's good. Special.
Yeah, definitely.
Enjoy those moments.
Definitely.
Well, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you next week.
Later, guys.
Bye, guys.